Welcome back to another episode of Hobby Talk, a cardboard podcast. This is episode number 17. Had to check the calendar because I almost forgot. Maybe I did. Ricky, welcome back. How are you? It's been a few weeks since you've been last here, but how are you doing on this fine day?
Yeah, I'm good. Last I had the family over in Chicago, so I had to spend some time with them, but I'm back. I'm good.
Family first, always.
Yes, sir.
Family first. All right, so let's just dive right into it. I gave a bunch of my takes and opinions last time without you, so I will let you kick things off since we're post the pleasantries. Anything that you want to talk about just from within the last few weeks? I know we have a couple topics written down. It could be one of those. It could be something completely different. But what's an opening take or opinion that you want to kind of talk about?
I kind of want to get right into the whole Topps Chrome basketball thing that's coming out.
I love the sound of this. Now we dabbled a little bit talking back and forth about it, but obviously we're saving our conversation for today. I like what you said the best. There's going to be a lot of hypocrites in this hobby shortly. And I'll just kind of leave it at that because I want to know what you think about it. Like, I don't care about the license. I really don't care, but a lot of people do. But so I want to know what you have to say about this because it's going to be a good product. It's going to sell, but we're really going to find out people's true colors very quickly.
So when it comes to PC, my PC stuff, I don't care about licensing. Like Juan Soto's, Mookie's, whatever. So if it's a cool card, I'm gonna buy it.
As it should.
But I know resale value, unlicensed baseball doesn't have much, and everyone says it's because it's unlicensed. So I know with Leaf, metal, all that stuff, I'm sure football and basketball are kind of the same way. People don't see the logo, so they don't want it, stuff like that. But that's how Topps Chrome basketball is going to be this year. That's how it's going to be this year.
But guess whose autographs are in it?
Wemby, Steph, LeBron, Curry.
All of them.
So are we still gonna ignore it because it's unlicensed? Or are we gonna ride the Topps hype train? I'm not even going to say I'm curious to see what's going to happen because I know what's going to happen.
Oh, it's written on the wall. It's so bad because I've noticed with basketball products from Panini this year, people will still buy them because they know that they can get the Wemby short prints and some cool cards and all that stuff. But you're really chasing the Thompson brothers. That's Asor and Amon. That's who you're chasing for. But they're not Wemby. They're not Scoot, and even Scoot's a Fanatics athlete too, so you can't even pull a Scoot auto. But with this product, this is people's first chance at a Wembanyama Spurs autograph. Again, it's not a licensed autograph like you mentioned, so it's not technically a Spurs. It's a San Antonio autograph. So when I said earlier that we're going to see people's true colors, we're going to see their true colors if they care enough for this licensing thing, because like you said, people don't like Panini baseball. They don't like Leaf for football or basketball sometimes, or other sports. I mean, Leaf produces great patch autos. I mean, if someone gives you a game-used patch auto, a Messi, are you going to say no? No, you got to take it and be like, this is awesome. So when Topps Chrome basketball finally releases and it is out to the world, there's going to be a billion people buying it up, buying the base cards, buying the autos, buying all this and all that. And they will not even think twice about the licensing. They're not even going to bat an eye. They could care less what it says on it. And to me, I don't want to say it drives me up a wall because maybe it does, but it's unbelievable the amount of hypocrisy we're going to see because I love Panini baseball products. I mean, I give Panini crap all the time, but their Prism baseball, their Mosaic baseball, kind of good. I mean, I don't know why they can't do it for football, but it's kind of a good product. Plus, you get 3 autos per hobby box, and it's like $120, $130 for a hobby box. You make that a football product, and you're paying like $1,500. But because it doesn't have Boston or New York or Los Angeles on the front of it, or the ball caps, People want nothing to do with it. But when it comes to this basketball and getting LeBron autos and getting a Wemby and a rumored dual auto between the two of them, not they could care less. It could be a plain white, plain black jersey that says nothing, and they're still going to buy it, and they're not going to bat an eye. It will have no effect on the value. It could be a base card, and it'll have no effect on the value compared to like a Panini base card, and it is going to blow my mind. I'm done.
Like, see the thing, like I understand why it will be a popular product. Like Victor rookie autos, LeBron's first auto in a long time, Curry's autos, Durant, whatever. But then, just admit that
What's
you
going
don't care
on?
about, like, yeah, sorry, those are my cats running around. They all got the zoomy. But yeah, like just admit that you don't care about the license stuff because of the resale value. Like that's all you have to say.
What is going on with my screen? Here we go. It's still doing it. I don't know what the hell's going on. Keep talking. I will try to fix this. Keep talking. I will be here in spirit while I try to fix this.
No, but like I said, like I understand why it's gonna. And the thing is too, like, are people gonna get priced out? Are people even gonna be able to afford this stuff? I feel like the only way people, like regular people, are gonna be able to get their hands on this stuff is if they overprint it.
I'm curious to see that what it looks like in terms of I'm curious about the printing, because I think it's going to be absolutely mass produced. They're going to try to get everybody's hands on this product, and I don't mind the oversaturation of products. I really don't, because it allows people to get cards. It allows to put them in their hands, and it makes it more affordable for whether it's collectors, whether it's flippers, whether it's card shops, whether it's breakers. It just makes everything more affordable. But the thing that it pisses people off is the resale value behind it. When they pull that first Wemby base Topps Chrome card, it's going to be a multi-$100 card. You wait 2 weeks and it's going to be a probably like a $50 card. And you wait like a year, it's going to be like a $3 card. And people will buy it for that $100, $50 tag. And then they'll complain that, oh my God, the market's crashing. Oh my God, it's dying because it's a $3 card now. It's rinse and repeat with any fresh new product, especially the big ones like your Prisms, and now this Topps Chrome basketball that's being released for the first time in a long time. So to already know what's on the other side of this release date, people need to understand that it is going to be very expensive, very wild to start, but it will come down. Maybe not the price of the sealed stuff, or maybe the prices of like, the Wemby autos or the LeBron autos or the Curry autos, but your general inserts, your base cards, of course, they're all going to be significantly cheaper. Did that fix it? Nope, I did not fix it.
Nope.
All right, great. All right, I'm gonna keep working on this.
All right. Yeah, no, that's how it is with everything that comes out. Like, people buy base cards for hundreds of dollars. Like, why? I've never been one to care about being the first to get something or something like that. Like, I'm not gonna pay an insane premium just to get it before others or get it early. Like, I don't mind waiting. Why are people going to be so impatient for a base card? A base card. You know they're going to be everywhere.
All right, I'll just have to go with the built-in face camera here. Wow, this is so weird. I'm not used to this. Okay, but yeah, I don't really. Wow, this is tough. Okay, I feel like I'm on like a Zoom call for like a business meeting here.
Looks like yeah.
But no, it blows my mind, because you're absolutely right. People go absolutely crazy and spend all this money on these cards. And yeah, we all want them. Of course we want them. I mean, trust me, I want to sell them here at the shop. People are going to want to collect them. People are going to want to flip them. But if we be patient, but people in this hobby don't have patience. And we know this, and we've already looked into this. If people just have a little bit of patience, then you'll be able to save yourself hundreds of dollars. You'll be able to in boxes and buy, eBay fees. You'll be able to save yourself so much money on brakes. But I mean, we haven't even dove into the brake market of these things. I mean, people are going to be buying into all these brakes for all these autos, and I guarantee you, any and all Wemby autos will be short printed. They're not going to say it like number to 25. Well, some of them will be, but like your base autos, they'll probably be short printed because I've seen a gazillion Prism. I mean, I know this is different, apples and oranges, but I've seen so many Prism basketball blasters, megas, hobbies opened here at the shop. And I think I've only seen like a handful of Wemby cards, like including like base inserts. So he's going to be a tough guy to pull, but people aren't going to care. They're not going to care. And it just blows my mind. Again, the hypocrisy, the inconsistency with a lot of their mindsets and their views about it. And I feel like that's just going to kind of cloud and shadow the great product that Topps Chrome basketball is going to be, because getting a Tatum and a Brown locally for us, even base cards are going to be really cool to look at just because of the iconic set Topps Chrome basketball is, being local superstars that those guys are. And it's going to be hard to kind of appreciate that product because we have this dark cloud of Wembanyama and, people now apparently not caring about unlicensed products. Oh, I never cared about them. Oh, it's fine with me. Yeah, okay. It's the same people that won't buy Leaf. Although you get 5 to 10 autographs per box for $100 to $300, you get 5 to 10 autos. They're the same people that will be buying, that don't like that product, and they're the same people. I'm looking at the wrong camera that will be not touching Leaf. So I can't wait to see when that product comes out, that the state of the hobby is going to be in.
And I'm wondering how many of these autos that you're talking about are going to end up, we could talk about this now, are going to end up with breakers.
Oh, all of them. All of them.
How many of them on Fanatics Live are going to find Wemby, LeBron, all that stuff?
I bet if a breaker, there's no way to quantify this, but I bet if a breaker is not on Fanatics Live, then they're not going to be getting a case that's juiced or has an auto, like a big name auto. Like, they may pull like a Damian Lillard auto, they might pull a whoever auto, maybe like a Tatum auto, but like those big upper echelon hobby guys, Curry, Durant, LeBron, Luka, maybe even, and obviously Wemby. Backyard's gonna get them. Leighton's gonna get them. All the hobby influencers are gonna get them, but no one can just go on the market, buy a hobby box, and pull a Wemby auto. That's just not going to happen. You're one of ones, that's not going to happen. You're out of fives, not going to happen. I really hope people understand that if you just buy a hobby box, hoping, you can hope for it, but if you expect or think, I like to be very optimistic and positive, but I'm sorry, I can't be, because I need people to know that reality is going to strike hard.
I can't. At this point, it's too much of a coincidence to ignore that all these big people are getting like the one-on-ones and the product hits and all that stuff. Like one time it's okay. 2 times is a coincidence. 1,000 times there's something going on.
Did you see that? What was it? I think it was a breaker pulled 4 of the one-of-ones, the Nebula one-of-ones in a matter of a week. 3 of them were from 2020 Prism with Edwards, LaMelo, and Tyrese Maxey. Now, first of all, we're 4 years past the release date. I'm surprised these cards haven't been pulled already. And then within the same week, they pulled the Wemby. I think it was Nebula. I'm almost positive it was Nebula, 1-of-1 from this year's Prism. In a matter of a week. That's like a once in a lifetime kind of a pull for any of those guys, because all of them at their own time had insane hobby relevancy, some more than others. But to pull them all in a week, a year, I just it's a little suspicious in my opinion. And it's all from Panini, and they're losing grip. And how do you try to pull a little bit of that back in? Juice the products. Get the hype, exactly. So, oh, here we go. Hold on, I want to show this real quick. Hold on, I gotta try to figure this out. I'm like all over the place right now. Share screen. Hold on, we're getting there. We're getting there. Here we go. Share screen. All right. Hopefully you can. Oh, I got to put the second monitor on. So what I'm trying to. Oh, hello. What I'm trying to show here is a beautiful Wembanyama autograph, and this looks like it's probably a gold parallel. I mean, tops it does gold out of 50. Will that change? I don't know. You and I and people watching this, just casuals, collectors, we're not getting this card. I literally just went on and found we're not getting this card. Like, look, and this is what Panini does very well with baseball is you cannot tell me that this is licensed or unlicensed if you didn't know.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
They're doing it. It looks like they did a great job of hiding the fact that they don't have the license.
I'm going to assume that this is what the base card looks like as well. Obviously, just without the auto and without the foiling. Like the gold foiling. And it says Wembanyama right on the back. It's got the jersey number. You can see all the Spurs colors. It says San Antonio. That's the only giveaway at the bottom. Otherwise, it probably would have said San Antonio Spurs. But it doesn't say anything about San Antonio. You couldn't even tell me that this is unlicensed. And baseball is a little bit more challenging because you got the jersey, you got the hat or the helmet.
Yeah.
I mean, they're swinging and all that. So it's like a little bit more of a challenge. But most of the cards you couldn't even tell me that they're unlicensed either. Because oftentimes like their arm will kind of cover where the like New York or Boston would be, or the helmet's like facing the other direction. But this is probably what the base card is going to look like, and people are going to salivate over this card. But it's unlicensed. But people shouldn't want it because it's unlicensed, right? That's what they tell me. So
no, look. So I wonder, since this is going to blow up, when it blows up, is that going to open the door for other unlicensed products, or are people not going to care about other unlicensed products?
People will still care less about Leaf. People that like Leaf love Leaf. Excuse me, because they appreciate the price point and what you can get out of it. Price per auto, such like that. The quality, the look of the cards. Some cool designs. But if you don't like if you hate the unlicensed stuff, and there's a lot of people that do, whether it's Leaf, Panini Baseball, whatever, I see a lot of them jumping onto this bandwagon right here. I see a ton of them jumping on. And honestly, if I'm going to be honest, Ricky, it's a little sad. It's a little sad. Now I'm open to change from people, of course. But man, it's like you got to pick one. You got to pick one. You either love it or you hate it. So,
like I said, I'm not even curious about whether or not this is going to blow up. We know it's going to blow up. Like everyone's going to be buying this stuff. I'm curious about other unlicensed products, if it's going to affect that market or not.
I mean, if you had to choose between unlicensed stuff, people are going to go with Topps or with Leaf. I mean, Topps has the bigger name, but we got to see what their quality control looks like. Obviously, what their print run looks like, the design. I mean, again, if this is the base card for Wemby, that's a really sharp looking card. Him posing with the ball. I mean, I probably would have preferred more of an action shot, to be honest. But at least something like this isn't like photoshopped or anything like this, like that you see on a lot of cards, like Bowman draft cards for all those guys. They're all photoshopped with them in their pro jerseys. So I mean, that's just as fake as it gets. But I mean, we can expect hoops, football, UFC, soccer, and I mean, obviously they already have F1. They just got UFC. So I mean, we're gonna have the same conversation, the same debate when football comes out, when that gets announced. Just because everybody's gonna want whoever the top rookie is at the time, but they're gonna want their licensed stuff. But they can't get the licensed stuff if this Topps unlicensed product comes out before Panini loses the license. So
that probably means they're gonna be releasing football soon, because they're going to want Stroud, Young, and all of that.
I mean, if they're able to kind of hammer this out between now and the next draft class, I mean, you got 6 first-round quarterbacks. Say what you want about them. Say wherever they went, whatever team. Breakers are going to drool over the opportunity to fill break spots with 6 first-round quarterbacks. I mean, it's going to be the same thing. I mean, you can buy a hobby box of Topps Chrome Football if and when that comes out, and you could pull any of the 6 quarterbacks, and I don't think any of them are Panini exclusive. I mean, I feel like if you're a Panini exclusive, I mean, you're just either taking the bag or you're clueless. But
Yeah.
I mean, Caleb Williams, Penix, Nix, and all those guys. I mean, 6 first-round quarterbacks. I mean, that's going to be great for breaks, like I said. And who's not going to want that, even if it's unlicensed, because it's Topps Chrome Football. Again, another fan favorite set, just like basketball is. So I think this is going to spur a lot of conversations, a lot of debates, and a lot of back and forth within the hobby and the community. Because like we even mentioned earlier, a lot of hypocrisy. We're going to really kind of see people's true colors. And at the end of the day, I am really curious to see, at the end of the day, the direction that Topps Chrome basketball and football, while it's unlicensed, like really goes in terms of favorability, hated, loved, don't care about it, another product, whatever. So, I mean, we kind of have an idea where it's going to go, but I definitely want to know where it actually goes. And I'm sure you are as well.
Yeah, I feel like this is, obvious. This is obviously kind of a money grab too, because they have to rush. They have to rush this product out so they can justify selling a Wembanyama rookie. Because they can't release by the time they get their license, or because then they'll look weird. Because they don't get into what, next year, right?
January 1st, 2026. That's when it's up.
Oh, okay, so 2 years.
So yeah, we got just under 2 years.
They couldn't wait until they get the license, because then that'd be hard to justify selling Victor Wembanyama rookies in this 3rd season.
So we just kind of spent the first 20 or so minutes talking about Topps Chrome basketball, and we sprinkled in obviously the football, and all I did was scroll down in the article, and here's a beautiful, I mean, the auto blows, but CJ Stroud auto, right? And let me ask you this, Rick. I keep looking at this other camera. I'm so used to this camera. Could you tell me if this is licensed or not licensed just by looking at it in a flash? No. I mean, you're missing what? Texans on the front, maybe in small little letters above the 7. You might be able to see the side of the bullhead of the Texan logo. Otherwise, you can't tell the difference between the licensed and unlicensed. And the design on it looks cool. But you can't pull, just like Wemby, you can't pull CJ Stroud, Young, or Levis autos out of football products this year because they're Fanatics athletes. So the best auto you're looking for out of it's Anthony Richardson, who's fine, who's good, who has got a lot of potential, but wasn't CJ Stroud this year. And everybody wants CJ Stroud cards, but you can't pull the autos. And people don't want to open these boxes for $200, $300, $400, $500, $700 and not pull these guys' autos.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to find where it says CJ Stroud in that autograph.
Can you see? Okay, you guys see. That looks like a 7. That looks like a 7. And I don't know what the hell this is. That
I guess.
Oh, there's.
I think that's lowercase s t r o.
Maybe. Okay, I'll give it to you. When you break it down like that, sure. I mean, you just give me like CJ. I don't care. I don't need the Stroud. Just give me CJ. But yeah, in the article it says Topps won't have any NFL license until 2026, but we'll be pushing out more football products in the months ahead, mostly centered on college players. However, Stroud rookie autos, will start appearing soon.
That's interesting.
Very interesting. But it's not going to be licensed, Ricky. So what are we going to do? Are we going to value them with immense value because they're Stroud autos and he was the one out of the bunch that played and looked well? And now he's got now he's got Stephon Diggs. Tank Dell will be healthy. Well, hopefully after what happened. You expect another step forward from Nico Collins. I mean, just that Texans offense is going to be seriously good in a fairly weak division, in a conference that seems to be fairly wide open after everything that's happened in it. CJ Stroud is going to be the guy to buy into at the National, just like Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields was last year. CJ Stroud is going to be one of 2. We'll see who the second guy is, I think, in the coming months. It'll be Stroud and I don't even know. Richardson, maybe, probably. Well, but again, you can't pull his autos out of a Panini product, and that's licensed. But that's what everybody hounds me about, is that Ooh, it needs to be licensed.
Well, people are going to be more after Richardson because of the licensed autos.
At least you actually get his licensed stuff. So, like, I mean, it gives you something to open these products for. But he played 4 games, didn't make the
Yeah.
playoffs, and Stroud did. He looked good. That Texans team looks way better than they did last year. So, like, the hype of Stroud, I'm not going to say price, correlates or is necessary, but the hype around him is justified. But you can't pull licensed autos. Sorry, you can't. And for people that care about that stuff, I want to ask you, not you, Ricky, but just the people that care about the licensing, what are you doing? Like, what are you going to do? Because you can't get licensed Stroud autos, Young autos, or Levis licensed autos. So, like, what have you been doing? What are you doing? And what are you going to do until January 1st, 2026? What side of the pendulum are you swinging? And I think this is an important question to ask because the majority of people, if you go on YouTube or shows or shops, well, they will say that they prefer licensed products, which is fine. It's their opinion, but don't portray the image of unlicensed products being negative, because if this is what we're getting and this is what we're getting, this isn't bad. This is literally Leaf. You take away the Topps Chrome, this is Leaf. That's what you get out of a Leaf card.
That's the thing. So it's like, if you're willing to buy Topps Chrome basketball for the insane price it's going to be, why not just buy Leaf?
It just blows my mind. And I do want to stick to we're having an insane conversation. I'm hopefully that it's being enjoyed all around, but I want to stick with Leaf. I gotta switch the screen here. Stop, present. Because I want to go over to something that you found a little interesting before I started. Was this independent audit firm finds Topps cards packaged at random following, quote, loaded box accusation. Now, I'll be completely honest. I did not read this article all the way through. I didn't get the chance to. I ran out of time yesterday. But I will say this. I came across this because I was watching Sports Card Radio's live stream from last week, which I try to poke into and just pick their brain and whatever. And they were talking about this, how they hired an independent audit firm. Now, I have so many questions, and I'm just going to fire them away. You can choose who you hire. Hint, hint, wink, wink, handshake behind the back. And also, this title is very misleading because I guess later in the article, it says that the independent firm wasn't able to concisely conclude that Topps does package their product at random. It only shows that they can. And I think that's a huge thing to take away from that. And again, this is direct from the Sports Card Radio YouTube channel, their live stream. They went over this way more in depth. But if it is a can package at random and not does package at random, that is a huge red flag. A huge red flag. And we were just talking about what breakers are going to pull this auto, all the breakers going to get this hot box and all that. Topps is going to be handing out cases upon cases upon cases of this highly anticipated Topps Chrome basketball product in the coming months. And they can distribute it and package it randomly, but they don't. Huge red flag, in my opinion.
Yes. So I didn't read the article or anything, but I've seen people's rebuttals about it on Facebook and all that stuff. And the thing that people were saying was like, if the packs are packed at random, the boxes or whatever, how come people can predict like the configuration of the cards through, like, once they open a pack? Does that make sense? Like,
oh, absolutely.
Like when you open a pack and you see, let's say, I don't know, Rafael Devers card in the front, then you know who's going to be in the back if you open enough packs. I don't think it's random. That's all bullshit.
So, let's see. That means the high value cards are inserted into products in a random manner. No one gets any preferential treatment because it's not possible for anyone to know where the most valuable cards are. It's genuinely random. I'm gonna say this. Whoever or however it's sorted that these 5, 6, however many cards are gonna go into a pack. Then you have to throw in the auto or the patch card or the one of one or whatever. I don't know what the process is behind it, but I'm sure it's human based because I don't think that's something you could probably have a robot do yet or have it automatically done because I don't know if they just can recognize a Wemby card. I don't know if they even know who Wemby is, these automatic robots or whatever. But if I'm somebody, in the line, I don't even know what the manufacturing line, let's call it, and they see this Wembenyama card, oh, they know exactly where they're putting it. And they know exactly who to give it to, possibly, because this is possibly getting packaged up for X or insert random breaker here. Just because, I mean, just like with Panini, and this is the big thing that I have with like Backyards, who kind of steered away from breaking, conversation for another time. But Panini knows that Backyard is an entertaining show. People are going to buy into their breaks and watch their shows for the entertainment and the possibility of pulling this crazy card. So if Panini doesn't provide Backyards with these massive hits, then the people buying into these breaks aren't going to buy into Backyards breaks. Then Backyards breaks can't buy the products from Panini. So it is a trickle down effect all the way from the top. Because if it was truly random, then Backyard breaks and I think it was Seablez. I forget who was it that pulled those 4 one of one out Nebula out of Prism. Like that just shouldn't just out of nowhere happen. It really shouldn't. And I want to believe that this is truly random and that this was truly done properly. But again, if you're hiring an independent auditor, an audit firm, you can hire whoever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think closed door communications or interactions or dealings have a paper trail. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It was Blood Sports Cards who pulled the 3 Nebulas.
Once in a lifetime cards. Maybe twice.
That's so crazy.
So, like, let me ask you this, Ricky. I know you're not big into breaking, but if you were, and you saw that 4 highly sought after player one of ones out of probably the upper echelon premier product of quote unquote affordable products, not including like your National Treasures, Immaculate, Flawless, and all that, but your Prisms, pretty much the top of the line for like your standard stuff. And you saw that, would that make you want to buy into the break more, or would that kind of take you out of, oh, well, if he's pulling them all, then there's nothing for me to pull? Or maybe on the flip side, makes you want to join his breaks? Curious to see what you have to say about that.
Like, unfortunately, that would make me want to join their breaks if I'm seeing that. Because if you know that people have better odds at pulling, the rarer cards than other people do, then of course you're going to pay a premium just to be in their breaks. Unfortunately.
I mean, just like what I was saying earlier with Backyards, if they have the hot hands, the hot boxes, the hot cases, why wouldn't you? I mean, It makes too much sense because in breaks, someone's getting those cards. Why not throw a dart on the wall for it to be you? And then that's how these manufacturers, Topps or Panini, gets people to buy from them, the breakers to buy from them. And that's how they get the people who do buy the breaks to buy from these breakers. It's a trickle down effect from the top, no matter who's putting these cards out. And I cannot wait to see who pulls these Wembenyama autos, the one of ones, the out of 5s, out of 10s of all these highly sought after cards. I cannot wait to see it because I highly doubt that it's going to be local card shops. I highly doubt it's going to be, random people buying a box from online. It's It's almost sad to think about, but it's reality. And if anything, what I want my message to be from this episode is to instill reality into people, that it's not all, oh wow, $10 for a spot, I get to pull $1,000 card in a break. Hell yeah. Like it's not all that, but people sometimes think it is.
You like people. The thing is with ripping boxes and all that stuff is I gotta understand there's got to be balance. Like if every box was loaded, it's going to cost a shit ton of money to rip. But like people get dud boxes, like, oh, this product sucks because it's overproduced and all that stuff. But it's like I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like people don't understand what they're getting into when they rip products or what they get or when they're buying into breaks and all that stuff. People think, here's a spot, I'm gonna make money. Here's a box, I'm gonna make money.
I try to tell people constantly and religiously, no matter the price of the box, no matter the price of the pack or whatever, or the break spot, you have to have fun. And typically I say this in shop because people will be pondering over, should I buy a $10 fat pack or should I buy the $500 box? And I'm like, listen, you have to be comfortable with the price tag. You need to be able to absolutely gut the money and not get anything back. You have to do it for fun. Because if you spend $500 or whatever, it doesn't matter how much you spend, but if you get half of your money back from those cards, that's a win. But if you have fun, no matter what you pull, is going to be a win. Now, of course, some people can only afford the $10 packs, the $10 boxes, the $20 blasters, $100 boxes, 500, whatever. No matter the price tag, you need to be able to have fun with it and swallow that price tag. And it's not just me having a card shop trying to force it upon someone to buy something, because I never do that. And if anybody that follows me, they would know that. I give you my honest, transparent opinion about something. And I think that's as honest and transparent as it gets, because if I was any other card shop or, some kind of dirtbag who only cared about the money, then I would be like, oh, buy this $500 box. Come on, you got to buy it. Like, no, I don't do that. But if you go into it with the expectations, like you said, of, oh, $500. Oh man, I could make $1,000 off of this. Oh, I saw them pull that card. Oh, I could do it too. Chances are you're going to be a little bit more disappointed than you are going to be thrilled with the results, let's say, because I also tell people the more money you put into a product, the better chances you have of getting something with potential value. There's no firm correlation or translation between what I just said. But if you buy 100 $10 fat packs and you buy $1,000 box, chances are you're going to get way more out of that $1,000 box than you are out of those 100 $10 fat packs. I just think that's the truth. And I don't have a firm theory to back that up. I don't have firm evidence, but your $1,000 box is more often not going to have inserts and parallels and mem cards and autos that are per box on average, or sometimes, very sometimes, guaranteed, where those fat packs don't, where they might have like, oh, here's one orange base parallel in the fat pack or whatever. But that's just my opinion. And again, transparency, I believe, is very, very important. And I don't think you get that from a lot of breakers. I don't think you get a lot of that from repackers. I don't think you get that from a lot of shops or even online stores, whether it's eBay or online retailers, because they're just going to want to sell you the product. And you might be able to testify that, Ricky, for when you were out and about opening products, going to, buying plates, buying stuff online, eBay, Facebook, or shops, whenever. But it's the unfortunate truth that a lot of these places will push the product on you. And that's why they're providing an entertainment. A lot of these breakers are providing an entertainment to get you to buy into it.
A lot of the breakers are providing entertainment because it's like, oh gosh, I don't know. The breaking community is just not good for me, at least.
I'm not a fan of it.
I don't like it. Not the whole repack thing really either. At least I don't like.
Talk to me about repacks. Why don't you like repacks?
Because at the end of the day, it's all gambling. That's all it is.
I mean, one could say that buying a card, whether it's in person, online, eBay, Facebook, Instagram, wherever, is also gambling. You buy for $100. Is it going to still be $100 card once you receive it? I
Yeah, but
mean,
that's if you're buying to sell though. If you're buying to collect, then you don't care if it goes down in value or whatever.
couldn't agree more. And that's why I try to tell people to have a collector's mentality and mindset first, because you'll never be disappointed. Obviously, you don't want to get screwed and pay $100 for a $10 card. Totally understandable. But I mean, you may not remember, but at the National last year, there was a guy. It was like in that back corner, like on the green turf. There was like a Jerry Judy out of 5 booklet RPA and that Bama jersey and everything. And dude had it for like so you do, yeah, he had it for like $120, $125. I looked it up because, like, collegiate, how does it do? He's not the best guy, but he was good. I think, I don't know, the most recent comp was like 80 something dollars. And I was like, okay, let me see if he takes $100. And he took $100. And I told him, I was like, hey, I'm not a collector, I'm a Bama fan. Would you take 100 for? And he took it. So that just proves a few things here. Have a conversation, which obviously we talked about, talking to people, vendors a million times. Obviously, you need to look up the prices of cards because you don't want to get screwed. But paying a slight premium for something in person seems to be an afterthought, which a lot of people forget about, because if I was to buy that card on eBay for $86, I'm paying close to $100 after shipping and fees, and obviously, the convenience, fee of it being right there. And then also, my PC. I bought for my PC. And I think a lot of people just kind of forget that aspect to buy for their PC, which unfortunately just blows me away, because so many people just forget about a PC. They couldn't even tell you what a PC is or what their PC is. And that's just sad, but I can't speak for every collector.
Like, and then you hear all these, and then you see and hear all these influencers in the hobby talking about how they don't have a PC or they don't really collect anyone. It's like, so why are you here? Like, there's so many other ways to make money. If that's clearly all you're in it for. Why sports cards?
And I want to piggyback off that because, like, obviously, like, I have a YouTube channel too, and I have almost 900 subscribers. Like, I don't have a crazy following, but I'm super, blessed to have, almost 900 people follow the shop on YouTube. But, the influencers that you refer to, that I refer to, obviously not dropping names, but we can all kind of assume who we're talking about. Those guys have such a huge following, and I won't lie, their content is entertaining. And I'm not out there to watch it all the time, but I understand why people do. But a lot of new people in the hobby, a lot of kids, and I guess even adults for that matter, be like, oh wow, that's crazy. They took $1,000 and flipped it for 3,000 because they took it, got it graded. They spent the 500 to get it graded in person at the show, and they just see all that, and they're like, oh wow, I can do that too. And then when reality, I feel like that's the theme of this episode today, is reality hits, they're like, oh, the hobby's crashing. How can they do it, but I can't do it. And these influencers also never preach collection. I feel like some of them do, but like you don't see their collection. Like, at least I try to show my collection every once in a while, whether it's with videos or with posts, or I mean, it's been a trend lately, card show pickups. Like, I always have to get one PC card, which I don't know how that started, but I'm happy it started because I'm enjoying picking up cards at shows now. It gives me another purpose at these shows. But they don't.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
There's a couple YouTubers that I'll give props to that show their collection, their PC. Like Card Collector 2, he shows his PC a lot. He talks about his PC a lot.
I mean, should we drop names of those that don't? I mean, I don't want to stir the pot or anything, but like there are a few. You're right, and they should be they should be praised. But like, I mean, he's one. Card Collector 2 is one. Obviously we can say his name because we're not talking negatively about him. But for every Card Collector 2 out there, how many are out there that don't? I guess is a better way to phrase it. It's. I don't know. And of course, we can't speak for everybody, and we're not going to, but it would be nice to kind of understand these flippers' mentality a little bit more. It's like, why did you choose sports cards? If you don't have a PC, you're not really in it for the hobby aspect of it. So why? You could have done anything else. You could have done sneakers, comics, video games, Rolexes. You could have done cars, whatever. Why sports cards? And you could say the same about Pokemon cards too. I mean, that's way more of a collection-based community, which is a conversation for a whole nother day because that's a complete different animal. But it is there's a lot of similarities, a lot of things that intertwine between sports cards and Pokemon cards, but they're both vastly, vastly different in their own way. I also want to, I'll let you piggyback off of that real quick, but before time does run out, I do want to talk about reverse inflation. So any outgoing takes about what I just said about like the similarities or contrast between the Pokemon and sports community that you want to kind of drop.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been saying I wanted to learn more about the Pokemon card community, but I really don't know where to start. There's just so much to learn, and I don't really have too much. I don't really have too much knowledge.
We can spend like half an episode or whatever talking about Pokemon. Like I'm no genius or expert either, but I mean artwork, let's see, artwork, pull rate, and supply and demand are pretty much the three things that you need to know when it comes to that.
I have this one card that you sold me for my PC, and that's it.
Hell yeah, the birds.
Just because it's sick.
I mean, but that's where it starts though with Pokemon specifically. No one's buying a Lars Nootbaar card because of the artwork of the card of him making a diving catch in the outfield. Like no one's doing that. They look at the card and they're like, is it a rookie? No. Okay. Then they don't want it. Like, I mean, obviously this is last year, but for, the WBC, he played a big part with, Team Japan. He's okay for the Cardinals. He's not great. But he's okay. But since it's not a rookie, since it's not numbered or auto, even if it was, no one would care. But since his name's not Ohtani, no one cares. So I made a video that came out about almost a week ago, and I talked about reverse inflation. And the title of the video is not reverse inflation. The title of the video is, I don't know. I don't want to refresh the tab, but pretty much what I talk about in the video, and I'd love to pick your brains about this, is the prices of cards now, today in May 2nd, 2024, as we're sitting down to record this, are cheaper. And I would even go on the limb to say significantly cheaper than they were May 2nd, 2023, May 2nd, 2022, May 2nd, 2021, and even May 2nd, or possibly May 2nd, 2020, because, that was still like that 6-month window where, the hobby was just really kind of going up. So it's like a gray area. I'd say like the second half of 2020 is really when things just absolutely spiked up in price. So when I say that, Ricky, that things are cheaper today than they were last year, 2 years, 3 years ago, what do you think of that? Like, what's your opinion on that claim that I have? It's something to think about.
That cards are cheaper. Are you comparing like specific cards or cards overall in general?
Cards in general. So like, let me put it this way. So like Wemby base Prism cards, I know, circling back to Wemby here, but I just feel like this is a really good example. Wemby base Prisms, probably anywhere between like $70 and $100 right now, just for the base bone stock base Prism. I think it might have spiked at like $130 like a couple weeks after release date. If you open that product in the fall of 2020 or the winter of 2020, the spring of 21, that thing is no less than $400 or $500. We could look at Joe Burrows. We could look at Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, Justin Herbert. We could go on and on and on of these guys that came out in that era, and their base bone stock Prism rookies were through the nose. Now, if those same guys were rookies this year, let's say, and their cards came out this year, they're nowhere near that price tag. So when I say like reverse inflation, what I'm saying is if you were to buy Prism basketball with Wemby as a rookie in 2021 with his hype and the season that he had this year, but you bought it then, you're paying $500, $400 for a bone stock Prism, raw, not graded, nothing. Compared to today, where you could probably get it for, again, $70 to $100.
Mhm.
So like where you buy a lot of cards, you sell a lot of cards. Have you noticed a similar trend, or do you still think that cards are expensive? I mean, I guess it just depends on what cards you're buying. So it's
Yeah.
try to generalize it if you can, because I'm able to buy, I use the example $100. I can buy way more today for $100 than I could back then. And I'm not talking like dollar cards or like quarter cards. I'm talking about like nice rookies, maybe inserts, numbered stuff, way more now than I could ever the past few years.
Huh. So I feel like that has a lot to do with, I guess, the supply in cards as well. Like we're
Okay.
seeing a lot. Like this is just graded cards, but we're seeing a lot of graded cards in the market now because a lot of people are grading. It's a lot cheaper to grade now. Huh.
That is very
Jeez.
true.
I might
It's
have to.
something to really think about. And it's
I,
like,
I, I guess I never really thought about it.
so like, let me ask you, like, what was your, like, picture Jackson Holiday? I think that's a great example too. Is Jackson Holiday cards have, I mean, obviously since he got demoted, but they were always through the roof, crazy through the roof. But like, imagine if he came out in 2020, 2021. I
I'm
mean,
I'm back.
it's
I'm bag holding this guy at this point.
but like that's a perfect example. Like, I mean, I don't know how much that auto is right now, but like, would you be surprised if I sat here and told you that that card 3 years ago is 3 times that price?
No.
I mean, supply and demand obviously a huge factor. Grading is a huge factor, but like, I mean, I also look at it as people getting out of the hobby, people not having
Mhm.
government stimulus money. So there are other factors and other variables that go into it, of course. But just in a vacuum, I think it's a safe assumption to say that the prices of things have gone down, but that's not a bad thing. And people keep telling me that the hobby is crashing, the hobby is burning. We should never gone into it. Blah, 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 blah. But if that auto, I'm just going to use dumb, simple numbers here. If that auto 3 years ago was $800 and it's now a $200 card, why are we mad? Why are we mad? If we like the guy, if we like the kid, if we love him or believe in him or whatever, or want to collect them, why are we mad that it's a fraction of what it once was? I'll never understand that.
Well, that goes along with the whole, collector versus flipper seller mentality. Because obviously, obviously going to be upset, that cards that you're holding on to sell is down. But my PC back in Boston, Juan Soto, Mookie, all that. I know what I have in there, but I haven't checked the values of them basically since I bought them. And even then, I didn't really care because I like the cards.
Now, this might be a too small of a window, but I'm just looking on Card Ladder right now, and I could share my screen if you want me to. But basketball is down 0.37% over the course of 3 months. Now, I could tell you what has happened in the last 3 months is the trade deadline, the All-Star break, the playoff push, the play-in tournament, and the first round, which actually it's still going on, but the first round of the playoffs have all been going on. My hand's over here. Have all been going on within the last 3 months. So why is it down point whatever percent? Sure, maybe the hobby's burning and crashing and it's abysmal, blah blah blah. Or maybe reverse inflation, that things are becoming cheaper because that Anthony Edwards Prism 101 Nebula card, if you pulled that 3 years ago when that product first came out, you are paying $25,000 for that card. I mean, I don't know how much it's worth now. I mean, you could only imagine because he's playing through his friggin' mind right now. But that card is way more affordable, way more accessible now. You can say this about anybody than ever before. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. And I don't know why people think like, sorry, that's my mocking voice.
Their impersonation.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's definitely a buyer's market now.
And that's fine. That's great.
Yeah.
That is great. It's great for us, I should say.
Yeah.
All right. Was there anything else that we wanted to talk about before we I mean, I don't think we have time to kind of talk about the draft. I did talk about it a little bit going into the draft. Obviously, this is the first episode post the draft. I guess just a few minutes because we don't have a time restriction for this episode, but we will for next one. Is there anything that kind of poked your interest that you kind of want to talk about in today's episode from the draft?
I don't pay too much attention to college football. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm just so mad we didn't get Marvin Harrison Jr.
I won't understand it. I mean,
Because I'd rather have whoever we have as quarterback throwing to Marvin Harrison Jr. than Drake May throwing to whoever we have as wide receiver.
I'm gonna say this. Quantity does not equal quality. And last time I checked, I think the Patriots have 8 wide receivers in their wide receiver room. Only 5, maybe 6. I mean, Slater was technically a receiver and he always made the team, but he was a special teamer, so he didn't really count. So probably 5 of them will make the roster.
Mm-hmm.
But quantity, again, does not equal quality. And I'd say you put 4 of our receivers together and they probably still don't equal the talent level of Marvin Harrison. That's all I'm going to say. And like, I don't like the Drake May pick. I'm not a fan of his film, the stats and all that. I made that very clear. But I asked this question: who's he throwing to, and who's protecting him? Because people would make the argument, oh, who's going to throw to Marvin Harrison? I'd say Jacoby Brissett. They're paying him $8 million. He's veteran. He's competent. He'll get you through the season. Maybe be competitive towards the end of the season for a playoff spot. Probably not, but maybe. And then you can take a quarterback, or obviously maybe you drafted one later in the draft, like a Joe Milton, who they still took in the 6th round. Or maybe you could draft a quarterback in the 1st round next year, because next year's quarterback class, I think, could be just as good, if not better, than this year's. And I know I'm in the minority on that because a lot of casual people will be like, oh, the next year's quarterback stinks, like their class. I'm like, name me one quarterback that's coming out, and they can't. So college football is way better than the NFL. I promise you, if you ever just want to sit down and watch a game day Saturday, it is so good. I promise.
No, I will say though, the biggest culture shock that I've noticed since moving to Chicago is how much people care about college sports.
It's only in New England that no one cares about it. It's unbelievable.
No, it's not even close. It's like, not even close.
So like the Northeast New England area is really known for their college hockey. BC, UMass, they're all in it. I mean, BC was just in the Frozen Four, the championship game, actually. I mean, I believe they lost, but they were just in the championship game, and nobody cares. Like, that is the March Madness of college hockey, and nobody cares. And it just blows my mind that you have prestigious hockey programs an hour away, at least for me, an hour away in New England, and nobody cares. PC was pretty good last year, not so much this year. But people care about PC a little bit. And like, I understand there's not a college football team that's relevant, but BC's there, UMass is there. They'll dabble a little bit. Holy Cross is okay. But I swear to God, it's just New England that people just don't care about. You go anywhere else, the Midwest, the South, Texas, California, the Midwest. Well, I guess the Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore, but they care about it. And it is like life or death for these like regions when it comes to college, specifically football.
These people bleed their colleges, their college sports.
It blows my mind. And it's like I could say, like, Alabama, for instance, they don't have a pro team, so they're going to buy into the college team. Okay, I get that. Okay, well, tell me Texas. Dallas Cowboys are probably the most popular sports team in the world, maybe behind the Yankees, if not 1A, 1B. And they have a million college football programs and basketball programs that people just absolutely buy into. You could say the same thing about Florida and California. And again, the Midwest with Ohio, Illinois, Michigan. I mean, we could do this all day. And they still care about their college teams, but they have relevant pro teams as well to combat it. It just doesn't make any sense to me, Ricky. It just really, really doesn't.
Chicago is like a cesspool of all the Midwest states, and it's just so crazy to see the different colleges that are represented here. how like how much people care about college football. Like
It's
it's just so
wild.
surprising to me. Like, wow, college are really that big.
I'll say this, and then we can go to our outgoing takes. There was a guy from South Carolina that popped into the shop one day. I forget if he was traveling, vacation, work, whatever. And talked to him. Oh, hey, where'd you come from? South Carolina, because I heard the southern accent in him. And I was like, may I please ask you this? How is the college football sports card scene down where you are? Like, I would assume USC is extremely popular, Clemson, probably UNC, and the surrounding schools. And he was like, you can go into any show, any shop, and you could sell any college football card for good money. Like, let's say like 85% of comps at least, just because of how
I believe
popular
that.
it is. And
I
he
believe
even
that.
said, Bama, Georgia, USC, UNC, Ohio State. I mean, you draw a nice big circle around South Carolina and Florida even. I'm like, oh my God. Like it has to be a New England thing that people
It
just could
is.
care
It
less.
1000% is. It definitely is.
But I understand there's really not a big college football team. BC used to be really good back in the day. Doug Flutie, Matt Ryan, Luke Kuechly. No one can name, where any of those guys went to college. But blows my mind. Blows my mind. Zay Flowers too. I mean, how about that one? Anyways, Ricky, last episode when it was just me, I had 2 outgoing takes. I forget the second one, but my first one was to buy James Wood. So I did that in your honor. So for today's episode, as we close it out, I need your outgoing takes before we wrap it up.
Okay. First one. We're still buying this guy.
Now, why? Tell me why. Like real quick, why are we buying James Wood still? He's not at the big leagues. He didn't make the roster. Why are we buying him?
So I didn't expect it. I knew he wasn't going to make opening day roster. I've been telling you for a while that he'll probably be a mid-season call-up, probably around the All-Star. But he's just doing so well in the minors right now. Like
Nobody's
it's
talking about it.
It's a matter of time. And then my other outgoing take is, we alluded to him earlier, be patient with this guy.
Is that Jackson?
That Jackson. Because people are already dumping his cards, whatever, but it's like no one understands how hard it is to transition from AAA to MLB. And he's kind of like in limbo right now because he's obviously too good for AAA. Like it was T-ball for him. But then he's struggling in the MLB. So yeah, he was sent down, but that's just so he could that's just so he could put the bat in the ball again and he's going
see base hits and see the ball and bring that confidence back up.
He's going to come back and he's going to be fine. Like he is a great player. He is really good if you watch him play in AAA. Of course, not the MLB, but still, he's a little patience. That's my take. Take.
So I know I said this every time we talked about Jackson Holiday here on Hobby Talk, all the way through the off season, spring training. I asked the question and I heeded caution. What if he gets called up and he stinks? And I know I mentioned it here. I mentioned it at the shop. And I was like, what if he gets called up and he stinks? And you know what I heard countless times from people? Oh, he's too good to suck. Oh, he's a great hitter. Oh, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying he will suck for the next 10 to 15 years of his career. You're right. He is too good to suck. He is too good to stink. He's too good to not be able to hit 300. I know that. But like you said, and I've alluded to it many times, big league baseball, major league baseball, and AAA minor leagues are 2 different things. It is night and day. Now, maybe it's easier for others to make the transition. Sometimes it's harder. the kid's 20 or 21 or whatever, however old he is. Like, he's got a beautiful swing. He's got a nice head on his shoulders. He's gonna be good. But that transition from AAA to Major League Baseball does not always translate. And I think people bought in too much of how good he did in spring training. But if we watch those spring training games, Ricky, I guarantee you he did not face not one Major League pitcher outside of maybe of like a reliever or outside of maybe like one at bat with I don't know, like the third guy in like the Royals rotation. Just because he's not facing DeGrom. He's not facing Scherzer. He's not facing Blake Snell. He's not facing Spencer Strider in spring training. Or maybe he's getting one at bat against those guys. But the transition from AAA to Major League Baseball is way too difficult to just assume. I mean, this is a throwback name, Ricky. Lars Anderson. He was Red Sox prospect, first baseman. It's like mid 2000s. He was regarded as the next Ted Williams with his nice lefty swing, power guy. He was 320 average. The dude busted. Sucked.
I'll give you another one. Rusney Castillo.
The face of Cuba in AAA. Like, the dude was a stud in AAA, but the pitching from Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Mexico, when you name the country, even Japan, is different than it is here in Major League Baseball. Yoshida, I mean, I think Adam Jones called him the Japanese, was it Juan Soto? Looked okay last year, and this year he's struggling. Jung Ho Lee, I believe, for the Giants, like, big contact guy, 330 kind of average guy. He's hitting 260. So there is a learning curve. It is different. I know I just kind of went on this huge tangent, but like, I hate to say this because it's going to sound so mean, but I'm happy I was right about Jackson Holiday, that people needed patience. No, just to prove a point, Ricky, just to prove a point to people that they need patience, and they don't have patience, because if this kid got called up and he just played out of his mind, everyone's going to say, oh, he's too good to suck. Oh, I was right. Oh, well, his stuff's so expensive. But since we saw a struggle and the tape looks good, his AAA spring training tape looks good, the skills, the athleticism is all there, it makes it just a little bit more affordable for people to buy, kind of circling back to a previous point. And it just makes it'll make the reward of being a pro major leaguer for Jackson Holiday probably just that much more fruitful, because he faced adversity. If he just got called up and he just kept breaking, like, I mean, he faced no adversity, he'd probably suck in the playoffs, because you need to face adversity in order to perform in the playoffs. And obviously that's the goal for the Orioles. But like, we can't expect these kids to get called up at such a young age and just to play out of their mind. Like, I think Wemby might be the lone exception in the last 20 years to just play out of his mind. But I beg to differ. I'd say that Wemby, how good is Wemby if his team's not in the playoffs? 10 teams make the playoffs.
Soto won a World Series at 19.
I mean, I would say Juan Soto was a way better prospect than Jackson Holiday was when he was young. And he got called up later in the season, because he didn't make the opening day roster. That he got called up later into the season.
Yeah.
So, like, again, I beg the question that you need not a question. Sorry, the statement that you need patience with these guys. I mean, Trevor Lawrence was the most generational quarterback since Andrew Luck or Peyton Manning, and the dude has similar stats to Mac Jones, and his cards have tanked. But we set high expectations for the kid that anything less is a failure. If Wemby doesn't win a championship in 3 years, if he doesn't win an MVP, if he doesn't win Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, all within 3 years, people, because of the hype and the expectations and the bar set for the kid, he's going to be a failure, because it's pass or fail. There's no in between. It's either you're good or you're not. And we could look at a Juan Soto, we could look at a Mookie Betts, who have had a lot of great success early in their career. No one cares. People care about Juan Soto now because he's on the Yankees, but beforehand, nobody cared. Yeah. No one cares about Corey Seager, and he's a 2-time champion and a Rookie of the Year. Nope, no one cares. I guess that's my outgoing take. I think I talked long enough. Patience, try not to be a hypocrite, and think of your collection. I think those are my outgoing takes. Do you have any like rebuttals after what I just said before I just like peace out?
No, I think we're good.
I think we talked long enough. We'll have like 50 minutes next episode. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for joining Ricky and I for another episode of Hobby Talk, a cardboard podcast. Ricky, it was fantastic to have you back for this episode, and I cannot wait for us to dive into whatever topics that we talk about next time. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Smash the thumbs up button, or the thumbs up button. Comment down below. Subscribe to the channel. Ricky, I will see you for the next one. In the
See you
meantime,
later.
peace out.